Today on our 2015 GMC Sierra 2500, you're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to show you how to install the Demco Hijacker Premier Series above bed rails and custom installation kit for fifth wheel hitches. Part number DM8552011-71. This is what our rail kit looks like when it's installed. This is going to give us a solid mounting point for our Hijacker Fifth Wheel Hitch. And it's going to have those different mounting locations for those different hitches. Your above bed rails are attached to two brackets which are secured to your frame rails underneath the bed. The installation part of it is very simple. You got to drill one hole in the side of each frame rail down through the bed, which is where your bolts are going to attach to your brackets that are attached to your frame. Each of your rails is going to have a nice black powder coat finish that's really going to resist any rust or corrosion. Our frame brackets are not going to require any drilling because they're going to use existing holes already in the frame. Your frame brackets are also going to have a nice black powder coat finish to resist any rust or corrosion, and your kit's going to come with all the necessary hardware to get it installed. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let me show you how to get it installed. First thing we need to do to start our installation is we're going to set one of our rails in the bed of our truck. We're going to measure from the edge of our bed to the center of our rail on each end per your bed size. We're going to be working with a 6.5 foot or a short bed today. Again, edge of the bed. We're going to go up per our instructions, center of the rail. We'll do this on both sides. And then what we want to do is we want to center it, or make sure it's centered. We're going to go from our wheel well to the edge. Same thing on the other side. Okay. Once we get that measurement, we're going to take a marker. We're going to mark this second hole in from the outside on both ends. Mark there. Mark there. Next thing we need to do is we need to assemble our slider. We're going to have two side brackets. It's going to say passenger and driver side. You're going to have three different mounting locations. Those are for different height adjustments. So you're going to need to set your height per your vehicle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set it middle. So I'm going to use these center holes, and I'm going to go through the top holes on our slider. 1/2 inch bolt with a flat washer. Let's line up like that. And then we'll put a lock nut on the inside. Next, we're going to take a 3/4 inch socket and wrench, and we're going to tighten and then torque all of our hardware to the specifications in the instructions. And the last thing we need to do before we set it in the bed of our truck is we're going to have a bracket like this. This is going to support the very back side of it. We're just going to loosely get it in there. We'll adjust it once we get it set. You're going to have two rods like this. Kind of see how I have it set up. We're going to put one on. It's going to be the top nut. Then we're going to push it through. And we're going to have one on the bottom. And then you can see we're going to have a threaded hole in there in this bracket. Once you have your slider torqued down, go ahead and install it on your bed rails. And then what you want to do is double check your measurement from your bed to the center of where you marked it to make sure it's not twisted. And then measure here one more time to make sure we're centered correctly. And then we're going to start drilling our holes. Now our inside hole is going to be a 5/8 inch in diameter. We're going to start with a pilot hole, and we're just going to step the bits up until we get to that 5/8. One thing I do want to mention, you want to make sure you check below to make sure you're not going to penetrate anything when you're drilling through the bed. Make sure you move any wiring or anything like that. Okay, we're going to have a large hex bolt and a flat washer. We're going to have 4 of them. Put your washer on your hex bolt, and you're going to push that down through the hole. You're going to insert your bolts on your very back rail where you just drilled your holes. Once you have your bolt in place there in the very back rail, that's going to hold our hitch steady while we drill our back ones. We're going to drill our back ones, same hole location, second one in from the outside, and we're going to use the same process. We'll start out with a small bit and step up to the 5/8. Now we've gone ahead and removed our spare tire. Next we're going to remove our spare tire heat shield. We're going to have 2 bolts we need to remove. We're going to have one here, we're going to have one right back here. We're going to be using a 13mm socket. Next we're going to need to cut out a section of our heat shield. I don't quite need to go over this far, probably just about here. My bolt is sitting right up in here, right above the frame rail. So I think I can get by with cutting it just this section out. Before I do that, I want to pop this wiring harness off here. That way I don't damage it when I'm trimming my heat shield. Now we can use pretty much anything to cut it. You can use aviation shears or 10 snips. I've got a battery operated cutting wheel here. So you can see I went ahead and cut it a little bit extra room here where I had it marked. Make sure I have plenty of room. And I also, right up here, right above my passenger side shock, you can see I had to cut out a little spot there in order to get to that bolt. Now you just have a heat shield on your passenger side of your vehicle. Driver's side will have the fuel tank we'll have to go over the top of, but other than that, this is the only trimming we really have to do. We're going to take this pull wire, spring in, we're going to go through this hole, and on the inside of the frame rail, there's going to be a hole just in front of this on the inside of the frame rail. So we'll take our pull wire again, we'll go and feed it in into that hole. It comes out right there. Take our carriage bolt, spacer block, looks like that. I'm going to thread it onto our pull wire. Like that. Go ahead and push your spacer block into the hole. Grab your wire. Push your bolt into the hole. And pull it out like that. Now we're going to go ahead and remove our pull wire. You just got to watch when you pull this off. Don't let your bolt drop down into the frame. And we're going to do the same thing with this hole. Now we're going to put our bracket in place. We're going to be using this hole and this hole. Go ahead and leave our pull wire on this bolt. We're going to slide it up and over. You want to make sure that we don't push our bolt into the frame rail. I'm going to go ahead and loosely install a nut just to make sure that that bolt does not fall in, and then we can make an adjustment if we need to. There it is. Pull that one out. Go ahead and remove your pull wire and then add your flange nut. Next, you can see how our corrugation is raised here where our bolt's coming down. We're going to have a spacer block like this. That is to keep our bed from collapsing when we tighten it down. So we're going to set it in like that. We're going to have the same thing with the most forward one too. And we're going to have a spacer like this. And this is going to take the place of the washer. And we'll go ahead and thread on our flange nut. Now we'll take a 15/16 wrench and we're going to snug the 2 nuts going to the bottom of our bed. We're going to make sure that our bracket is pulled up, flush against the bottom of the bed before we tighten our bolts on our frame rails. Once you have all your hardware tightened, you're going to torque it to the specifications in the instructions. You're going to repeat the same process on the other side of the vehicle, with the exception is you're not going to have a heat shield. That'll do it for a look at and installation on the Demco Hijacker Premier Series above bed rails, part number DM8552011-71 on our 2015 GMC Sierra 2500.